Hello, everyone, and the warmest of welcomes to you. It is truly wonderful to have you here with me today. Before we dive into one of the most surprising and fascinating topics I think we've ever covered, I want to take a sincere moment to send my best wishes out to you and your loved ones. Wherever you are in the world, I genuinely hope you are feeling happy, peaceful, and are in the very best of health. Let's get started. I want you to think about a turtle for a second. Picture it in your mind. It's probably slowly walking on land or gracefully gliding through the water. Now, think about how it breathes. Like us, turtles are air-breathing animals. They have lungs, and they need to come to the surface to take a breath of fresh air. That's a fundamental fact of life for them, especially for aquatic turtles who live in rivers, lakes, and ponds. But what if I told you that for some turtles, coming up for air isn't their only option? What if I told you that some species of turtles have evolved one of the most bizarre and ingenious backup systems in the entire animal kingdom? They can, quite literally, breathe through their butts. I know, it sounds like the setup to a bad joke or a silly meme, but I assure you, this is real, hardcore, fascinating biology. This isn't a metaphor or an exaggeration. It is a legitimate physiological process that allows these turtles to survive in conditions that would be impossible for other animals. This unique ability is a spectacular adaptation for survival, and it's all thanks to a special part of their anatomy called the cloaca. To understand how this works, we first need to get a little comfortable with some basic turtle anatomy, specifically what the cloaca is. The word cloaca comes from Latin, meaning sewer or drain, which might sound a bit unflattering, but it's actually a brilliant multi-purpose chamber. For reptiles, birds, and amphibians, the cloaca is a common chamber and outlet into which the intestinal, urinary, and reproductive tracts all open. It's the single opening used for everything, expelling waste, laying eggs, and for mating. In many animals, that's its primary job. But for certain turtle species, evolution has supercharged this chamber, turning it into a vital respiratory organ. Think of it like this. While we have separate exits for different bodily functions, turtles have one grand central station, and in some species, that station has been outfitted with gills-like capabilities. The technical term for this process is cloacal respiration, and it is every bit as effective and important as it sounds. Now, how does an opening typically used for waste become an organ for breathing? The secret lies in the highly specialized tissues that line the cloaca in these particular turtles. The inner walls of their cloaca are filled with a dense network of blood vessels and are covered in tiny, finger-like projections called papillae. These papillae massively increase the surface area inside the chamber, much like the millions of tiny alveoli in our lungs do. Because this tissue is so rich with blood vessels, it is incredibly efficient at absorbing oxygen directly from the surrounding water and transferring it directly into the bloodstream. At the same time, it can expel carbon dioxide, the waste product of respiration, back out into the water. In essence, the cloaca acts like a built-in set of gills. The turtle will rhythmically pump water in and out of its cloaca, passing this oxygen-rich water over these specialized tissues to extract the precious oxygen molecules. It's a process of active exchange, not just passive absorption. This allows the turtle to breathe underwater without ever having to come up for a traditional gulp of air. It's a completely separate, secondary breathing system. You might be wondering, why would a turtle even need such a strange ability? The answer is all about survival in extreme environments. This adaptation is most famously found in a group of turtles known as the Australian river turtles, with the Fitzroy River turtle being the superstar of butt breathing. These turtles live in rivers that are prone to drastic seasonal changes. During the wet season, the water is high, fast-moving, and well-oxygenated. But during the dry season, the water levels can drop dramatically, leaving turtles trapped in isolated waterholes, billabongs, and pools that become stagnant. In these stagnant pools, the water can become very warm, and warm water holds much less dissolved oxygen than cold water. Furthermore, as organic material like leaves decays in the water, it consumes even more oxygen. This creates a deadly situation for any air-breathing animal trapped there. If a turtle had to rely solely on its lungs in this situation, it would be in serious trouble. It would have to surface frequently, making it vulnerable to predators. But worse, if the water was covered by a thick layer of ice or debris, or if the turtle needed to hibernate at the bottom of a pond for the entire winter, surfacing might be completely impossible. This is where cloacal respiration becomes a life-saving superpower. A turtle capable of breathing through its cloaca can stay submerged for potentially weeks or even months at a time during these harsh periods. It can hide from predators at the bottom of a murky pool, conserve energy, and wait out the dry season or the winter without ever needing to brave the surface. For a species like the Fitzroy River turtle, this ability isn't just a neat trick. It is the key to their survival in a challenging and unpredictable environment. It's important to note that not all turtles can do this. Cloacal respiration is primarily found in certain freshwater turtles, especially those that live in environments where oxygen deprivation is a common challenge. Sea turtles, for example, cannot breathe through their cloaca. They're incredible divers and can hold their breath for impressively long times, sometimes hours, but they ultimately must return to the surface to fill their lungs with air. Their survival strategy is based on efficient lungs and oxygen storage, not on extracting oxygen from the water. The turtles that have mastered cloacal respiration are the ultimate specialists, turning a part of their anatomy we might find humorous into the most critical tool for their existence. The efficiency of this system is truly remarkable. Scientists have studied these turtles and found that during periods of long submersion, they can get up to 70 or 80% of their necessary oxygen through their cloaca. The rest of their energy needs are met through a process called anaerobic respiration, which is a way for cells to create energy without using oxygen. This process does create a byproduct called lactic acid, which can build up in their muscles and blood, much like it does in our muscles when we exercise intensely. But these turtles have another amazing adaptation. They have shells and bones that can absorb and neutralize this lactic acid, preventing it from reaching toxic levels and allowing them to hibernate underwater for months without suffering from oxygen debt or acid buildup. It's a complete physiological package deal. This incredible adaptation makes you appreciate the sheer creativity of evolution. Evolution doesn't have a plan. It simply favors any trait that helps an animal survive and reproduce. In the case of these turtles, a random mutation that led to more vascularized tissue in the cloaca provided a slight advantage. Those turtles could stay underwater a little longer, access more food, avoid more predators, and survive harsh seasons better than their peers. Over millions of years, this slight advantage was selected for over and over again, eventually resulting in the highly efficient, specialized system we see today. It's a perfect example of how animals can evolve to use the parts they have in entirely new and unexpected ways to solve the problems their environment throws at them. So, the next time you see a turtle, whether in a zoo, a pet store, or in the wild, you can look at it with a new sense of wonder. That slow, seemingly simple creature might just be hiding one of nature's most bizarre and effective secrets. It's a beautiful reminder that in the natural world, sometimes the most undignified solutions are the most brilliant ones. Survival doesn't care about what's proper, it cares about what works. And for some turtles, what works is breathing through their butts. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the weird and wonderful world of turtle biology. I hope you learned something amazing today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.